mission of my work is to heal families through nature-based experiences, and the Kenilworth Aquatic Gardens provides an incredible opportunity to do that. Some kids are really auditory, so they'll hear something and it'll grab their attention. Some kids are very visual and they'll see something move. Turtles, you know, and frogs are obviously the stars of this area, and so when kids sees that, it's like that tough kid, everything melts away and they just tap into this innocence that is childhood. That I again believe that, you know, nature has such an incredible role in doing that. And so just to come to the park alone without even having any educational outcomes can affect the affective learning, which has everything to do with how they feel, how they respond, how they process. And if you think about it, at the end of the day, that's at the root of some of the behavior problems that come up when you try to stick with just the academics. The water trauma with certain colors, certain communities, specific communities of colors, is very valid. And so water, just the first thing is. But once you get that person to take down those layers and actually come and give yourself, it might take a month, it might take 3 months. I might not see you till next spring. But when they do come and it's on their own and you watch the fear unfold and you see the, you know, they go through this myriad of different emotions and responses to nature, but ultimately everyone I've ever taken out has left that experience with a, I'm so glad I did this. This is amazing. When can I do it again? Oh my God, I didn't know this was here. Wow.
And then there's the idea of cosmic evolution. So the universe develops in such a way to make black holes. Ah, that's interesting. We live in this universe where really bizarre things happen. You know, these massive stars evolve and collapse into black holes. You know, who could have ever thought of that?
Neil Garrows was a tremendous scientist, and we all know that. But he was a big heart. He loved children, he loved family life, and he loved the poor towns. And we loved him because he dedicated so much of his time here with people, teaching us how to bring heaven to earth. I noticed that this man was quite different. He was quite engaged and wanted his children to be engaged in an urban community. Neil was quite an outdoors person. He loved kayaking and canoeing. What I really remember is when we went on the Anacostia River and one of the kids was just so afraid to go out and canoe. It just wasn't going. And Neil just came up, put his arm around him and said, we can do this. Just his gentle way of encouraging you to do things that you would never do was just the essence of Neil Garrows.
It's very important if we're going to get the Anacostia River back to be a useful thing to the community for swimming and fishing, that we mind the tributaries and the streams that flow into the river. With the members of the Environmental Committee of the Hillcrest Civic Association, we cause the work that's going on now at Alger Park. Alger Park used to just be a place that was an eyesore, a place that was causing a lot of damage, a place where people also dumped. I started bugging the various city agencies, and I finally wound up at the Department of the Environment. I really knew they were listening when a guy named Josh Birch came on the scene. He toured it, and he was astonished that the erosion had created canyons. So when he saw that, he took up the fight. It turned an eyesore and a menace into what's going to be a gem in our community.
Bob is a passionate guy, and he also had the gift of gab. He liked to talk. He liked to talk a lot, which was great for us because he built a lot of advocates and champions for rowing on the Anacostia River. He recruited people to row. He got people to volunteer to give us docks. ramps, boats, all sorts of donations, which really started to make rowing on the Anacostia possible. He was a rower, and so he wanted to provide rowing opportunities for a diverse population of people, but he also was an environmentalist and knew that through rowing and increased recreational access and opportunity that he would help build more stewards for the health of the river. Every day we have 600 to 800 kids, adults, breast cancer survivors, people with physical and intellectual disabilities who get a chance to get out on the river and row, starting before dawn and after dark. And they row and they paddle and they train and they race and compete, and it's Bob's legacy. He built this.
I grew up on an island, so being outside is a normal thing. And then my science teacher in 8th grade, I learned about sea. And then that's when I said, oh, I want to apply for this. C stands for Saturday Environmental Academy. It's a program for 7th and 8th graders to learn to do things that help the environment and to learn about different ways they could. And as 9th graders, you could come back to be a student leader. And you're basically a teacher, but you do different assignments each week and present it to the 7th and 8th graders and possibly getting them to be excited about being a student leader. I speak to my friends all the time about recycling. That's my major thing. I tried speaking to my principal about changing our trays and being a part of the recycle program. This year so far, I've noticed that we actually have giant recycle bins. So I think she actually took heed to what I was saying.